That's kind of the rules. But damn, like, I just really wanted to see a good Al Capone movie.
Yeah, didn't get it with this.
I know. I feel like, with the exception of like Boardwalk Empire, there's not a lot of like good gangster movies from like that time period. You know, Untouchables is like really cheesy, and it's the romanticized story of Elliot Ness, where Elliot Ness is this uncorruptible FBI agent who goes in and saves the day, which isn't what happened. Elliot Ness went to Chicago and made a complete fool out of himself. They said, like, Al Capone saw him as a nuisance, like, not as a real police officer. And Elliot Ness was someone he'd be happy about how people portrayed him later on, because he was way more into, he wanted to be a TV cop. He wanted to be an actor playing cops in movies. He would have news crews follow him to like busts. He would like say, he would like...
That's fucking crazy.
He would inform the media of like, all right, on 157th Street at 8 p.m., we're going to take down this liquor shipment. But Al Capone had like informants in the media who would tell him, so he would just make sure that like the liquor shipment would go somewhere else. So like this guy wasn't like this big hero cop.
He was an egomaniac.
He also afterwards he became the police commissioner of Cleveland and accidentally set the city on fire. Because in Cleveland, like right after this, there was a serial killer who was like preying on homeless men. And there was this big, like, basically tent city outside of Cleveland. And Elliot Ness had the idea that he was going to burn it down because basically, like, if they couldn't congregate anywhere, then the serial killer, like, wouldn't have as much access to, like, victims, which is, like, just idiot thinking. But anyway, he set this giant, like, tent city inside of Chicago on fire, and it just like spread everywhere. He like literally just like accidentally like burnt half the city down. So Elliot Ness was like a fool. Like when you talk about the Untouchables, you know, it's a very like romanticized story about what actually happened. Boardwalk Empire is great. It tells like a very like realistic story.
Speaking of Steve Buscemi, I just watched Horace and Pete.
Oh, he's in that. That's the Louis C.K. show.
So fucking good, man.
Yeah? It's on Hulu?
Amazing.
I don't know if I'm going to watch it or not.
You could do what you want. I'm just telling you, it's amazing.
All right. I don't know if I'm going to do it.
Yeah, he's not talented anymore because now you know that, right? That's how it works, right?
No, that's not how it works.
Exactly.
No, you're right. It's not how it works.
Exactly. Just be honest about it.
No,
like that's one thing. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying in general. If you want to say, hey, listen, I have a problem with this person as a person because of information that I know that I previously was not aware of, therefore I cannot partake. I'm 100%. I get you. No problem. I feel that way about Woody Allen personally.
I feel that way about Woody Allen.
Okay, yes. But you know, you can't erase history in the sense of he was never one of the best comics that's ever lived. That's just not accurate.
I'm not saying he's not funny.
I know you're not. Yes. I'm just saying that it doesn't work like that.
I'm not saying he's not funny. I'm sure Horace and Pete is hysterical.
It's not a comedy. I'm just saying it's
fine.
Good. Yeah.
But
I didn't even mean to make this a Louis C.K. thing.
Yeah,
because Steve Buscemi is actually brilliant in it.
There's a dark cloud over it.
I get that. I respect that.
There's a dark cloud over it that makes it less enjoyable.
I don't have a problem with that.
That makes his stand-up, there's a dark cloud over it that, to me, makes it less funny.
If that's your opinion,
I respect
that. My point was Steve Buscemi... my point is, it's a brilliant show, and Steve Buscemi does a brilliant performance in it. Because he mentioned Boardwalk Empire.
I didn't
even mean to go on a rant about
Stephen Graham plays Al Capone in Boardwalk Empire.
Correct.
Stephen Graham was Tony Pro in The Irishman. He's amazing.
Yes.
I was thinking about, like, there are no real great, like, besides Stephen Graham, I feel like no one's really, like, captured the essence of who Al Capone was. But even Stephen Graham, like, the first season of Boardwalk Empire, Stephen Graham's probably, like, in his early 30s. It's supposed to be the first year of Prohibition, and it's like Al Capone was 19 when Prohibition started. So you have, like, a guy who's in his mid-30s playing someone who's supposed to be 19, and he doesn't, like, feel like a 19-year-old in the show. He feels like an adult man. That's another thing about Capone. He was 25 and was the boss of all of Chicago's criminal activity,
which is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, he was 48 when he died, right?
And he was 48 when he died.
Which is also insane. Like, you're watching, like, this guy, you know, who belongs in a nursing home is in his 40s. Like,
yeah. He, he also was just looked way older than he actually was. Even when, like...
so did everybody back then.
Even when, if you look at, like, pictures from the trial of Al Capone, that does not look like a 33-year-old. No. If you look at, like, pictures of him, like, at... you know, bars at speakeasies and stuff, and like going around town, that does not look like a dude who's in his late 20s.
Oh my god, no. Looks like in his 60s.
So I don't know. Maybe casting an older actor is better, but you know, I never felt like in Boardwalk Empire that this is a 19-year-old kid.
No, I didn't know he was supposed to be that young in Boardwalk.
Yeah, well, Prohibition was, you know, 1920 to 1933. Al Capone was born 1899. Yeah. You know, so
he's in his 20s.
So he's 20 or 21 actually, which, you know, for then you're an adult male. You know?
Back then. You had grandkids at 21 back then.
You had grandkids at 21. He's an interest. I've always thought, like, they've also never got, like, the beef between the Sicilians and the Neapolitan gangsters, like, correctly and everything, because in movies, because a lot of his rise to power, he's fighting against the Sicilians who really control organized crime at that point.
Right.
And if you look for most of Al Capone's criminal career, he wasn't considered like a mafia boss, because the mafia family that was in control of Chicago wasn't Capone's family. It was the Jenna crime family that Al Capone had their leaders taken out.
Yeah, he wasn't a member of the Five Families.
No, he wasn't. Well, but he later was given a position on, like, the original Mafia commission. So he was kind of brought into it, but...
It was before the Five Families even existed, right?
Before the Five Families...
he was in organized...
He was in organized crime way before the Five Families existed. The Five Families start in 1931.
Right.
And he's brought in on the, like, Mafia Commission. Before that, in 1928, there's what's called the National Crime Syndicate, which it's kind of like a precursor to, like, the Mafia Commission, but it's more like a national, like, web of bootleggers who are all kind of communicating with each other to, like, make sure that shipments from different cities would you know, arrive on time or stuff. So he was part of that in, like, 28. And then later became part of, like, what is modern day known as the Mafia.